beneath the crashing waves of the Arabian Sea, lies a city that defies time. For centuries, it was dismissed as myth, nothing more than a spiritual fable. But what if I told you that archaeologists may have uncovered evidence of one of the oldest, most enigmatic cities ever built? Dwarka, the legendary kingdom of Lord Krishna. The tale of Dwarka begins in ancient Indian scripture. Described in the Mahabharata and various Puranas, it was said to be a golden city, built by divine architects, ruled by Krishna himself. Massive gates, grand towers, palaces studded with emeralds and pearls. This wasn't just a city, it was a beacon of prosperity. The kind of place that made mortals question whether gods had built it. Myths claim Krishna built it overnight with divine help. The city had 900,000 royal palaces, all made of crystal and silver. Sounds impossible, right? But remember, myths often use exaggeration to point to something very real. Ancient texts also describe Dwarka's precise layout. Wide roads, markets, defense walls, and complex ports. This level of urban planning was supposedly thousands of years old. If true, it would push back our understanding of early civilizations significantly. In 1983, the National Institute of Oceanography began exploring the seabed near the present-day Dwarka in Gujarat. What they found challenged centuries of dismissal. Divers stumbled upon regular stone formations, right angles, and what looked like steps leading to nowhere. Walls, streets, possible anchoring stones. These weren't coral reefs, they were too structured. Over the next 2 decades, teams kept going back. They used sonar scans and submersible cameras. What emerged was an outline, a city beneath the sea. Grid-like patterns, large stone blocks, clear demarcations that looked too artificial to be nature's random creation. The structures lay more than 120 feet underwater. That depth would take thousands of years to reach naturally. And then came the real jaw-dropper: pottery shards, stone anchors, and fossilized wood. These weren't just shapes, they were clues. Carbon dating placed them around 3,500 to 3,600 years old. That time frame overlaps with Krishna's era as per Indian mythology. How could a city of that scale be built so quickly? The Mahabharata says it was constructed in just 2 days. Obviously, even with modern technology, that's absurd. But think of it symbolically. 2 days could mean a divine act, a quick miracle by standards of the time. The idea of divine help hints at an ancient civilization with advanced building techniques, like how pyramids and Machu Picchu still baffle engineers today. What if ancient India had something similar? Also, rapid construction might reflect the need for urgent relocation. Krishna is said to have moved his kingdom to escape war, a city rising quickly from necessity, not opulence. And again, it could be metaphorical. Ancient Indian literature is filled with poetic license. What matters more is that multiple texts, written across centuries, mention the same city in stunningly similar terms. Sonar imaging lit up the mystery like never before. Large rectangular outlines like streets, block formations hinting at temples, anchors made of stone weighing several hundred kilograms. This isn't the stuff of dreams, it's hardware from history. Recovered pottery featured unique designs not common in surrounding areas, suggesting a distinct culture. A few even had inscriptions, undeciphered but undeniably artificial. Divers noted deliberate placement of structures that align with astrological patterns mentioned in ancient texts. India's archaeological community got serious. Suddenly, Dwarka was not a fringe theory. It was a national heritage site in waiting. Scholars from around the world began revisiting Sanskrit texts with new respect, connecting verses to underwater geography. Still, less than 5% of the seabed ruins have been explored. It's a vast city buried in time, waiting to be unwrapped. Of course, every mystery has its skeptics. Many argue the ruins are natural formations, that tectonic activity split and shaped seabed rocks into illusions of man-made design. Some archaeologists call the artifacts out of context. They argue the pottery could have drifted from elsewhere, that anchors don't equal ships, that walls aren't always walls. But then you ask, why are these formations so neatly organized? Why do sonar scans show a city grid? And why do historical texts line up with the geological discoveries? Critics warn against nationalistic bias of turning every myth into fact. But believers counter that truth often hides in fables, and Dwarka is looking less like fiction every year. According to ancient texts, Dwarka didn't just fade, it sank violently. After Krishna's departure, nature reclaimed the city. The sea roared, and the earth trembled. Massive floods washed away everything. Modern geology supports the possibility. The region is seismically active. Ancient tsunami records exist in sediment layers nearby. A catastrophic event could have swallowed the city in one tragic sweep. What's compelling is that this isn't an isolated story. Other civilizations speak of lost cities drowned by wrathful seas. Atlantis in Greece, the city of Z in South America, Kumari Kandam in Tamil lore. Could these be echoes of a global event? The Indian government has stepped up. They now fund marine archaeological expeditions with cutting-edge tech, autonomous underwater vehicles, high-resolution sonar, even robotic arms for careful excavation. Cultural ministries now acknowledge Dwarka as more than legend. Schools mention it, museums are being planned, religious scholars are working alongside scientists, a rare harmony of faith and fact. New training centers prepare divers specifically for archaeological research. These aren't just treasure hunters, they're explorers of history's seabed library. And as equipment improves, so does our chance of unlocking the deeper layers of Dwarka's past. Dwarka isn't alone. All over the world, stories of sunken cities persist. In Japan, the Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Egypt, Thonis Heraklion. Even in the Caribbean, tales of submerged temples. Why do so many ancient legends speak of rising waters? Climate change, tectonic shifts, or perhaps shared ancestral memory passed through stories? What makes Dwarka unique is its extensive documentation. Few other legends are backed by both scripture and sonar. Connecting these stories could change archaeology, not just regionally, but globally. It would imply an older, more advanced human civilization. Today, marine archaeologists continue to map the ruins. They're using 3D imaging, digital modeling, and even AI to reconstruct what the city might have looked like. Findings are slow but steady. Every dive brings new artifacts, clearer images, stronger evidence. Even satellite imaging helps spot changes in ocean topography. But the window is closing. Rising sea levels and industrial pollution could erase Dwarka again. Preservation is now as urgent as discovery. Imagine what still lies hidden. Undisturbed temples, royal relics, the cultural DNA of an entire forgotten civilization. Dwarka was once thought to be a bedtime story, but today it might be the key to rewriting not just Indian history, but human history. Science is catching up with mythology, and somewhere beneath the waves, a city waits. Half remembered by legends, half buried in silt, and still holding its breath. If this fascinated you as much as it did us, hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-bending mysteries and ancient secrets. Share this with someone who still thinks myths are just bedtime stories. Because this one might be real.